Good evening. This is Barbara A. Prokopich. I'm from northeastern Washington, and I have a video for you. This is number 27. I wanted to jog your memory a little bit and have you do a little tracking, and you will learn a few things yourself about our past and how it's going to affect your future. And it may be a lot more solemn and much more tormenting than you realize. Backlog to 1937. A lot of you people weren't here yet. Some of us were lucky enough to know what was going on then, when our parents were going through hell. It was called the Great Depression. It was the reign of Teddy Roosevelt. Or excuse me, not Teddy, but Franklin Roosevelt. And we had soup lines that were longer than ever and no jobs for anyone. And it continued for a long time. There was a radio talk show called The Shadow Knows. Well, guess what? One of the main things that was going on during that time was bootlegging and called mobster organized crime. And guess what? New York, Chicago, and California have right now. It's called organized crime. And nobody is honest anymore. At least not a good portion of them, and I have reason to believe my leader is one of those. A very good reason to believe it, that he doesn't care, and he will do anything for the possibilities of putting us into a greater depression. Just this sequestration, or whatever he wants to call it. You know, in this 1937 speech that was put out by the Shadow Knows, a radio program, this is an interesting thing. Organized crime was attached to India, Egypt, China, and many of the Malaysian countries, and the mafia world was really going at it, murdering several people. And then you became guilty by association. Well, I don't know, that was then, and now we still have things going on like this. It was Orson Welles and the Illuminati Committee, which, by the way, still breathes and is quite real, and they are threatening people even to this day. I just hope that people realize, too, if they look into President Bush. He had a famous society. He belonged to it. It was called the Crossbones and the Skull. This is a demonic society. So for our president and different ones to be associated with it, that tells you what we have got to look forward to. As far as our quaint taxpayers out here are concerned, are we going to be the footstool for these primates that call themselves human beings that want to tear our finances and our lives apart? Sequestering is only the tip of the iceberg. Are you kidding me? $150 million was already spent over in Egypt. Just today that Obama sent them a nice cashier's check. Go out and spend it for your basic needs. And we ask ourselves, is he nothing other than a Muslim Brotherhood member? Well, it sure is pointing in that direction. And yet we are sweating every dime we have and saying, well, we have to give them basic needs. What about our own kids here that can't even have basic needs? And that includes education. The showroom floor is getting pretty crowded with Michelle and him both up there trying to prove to you that everything's okay, while your money jar, your penny collection, and all gets lower and lower. It's time, America. It's time to wake up. And when he uses the word apocalypse is not happening, you are just kidding yourself. If you don't look around and see all the the signs from 1937, when Orson Welles came out and said, mobsters, you will be taken down. Your veil will be uncovered, and they will find out all about you. Well, it hasn't changed a bit. It's going to get a whole lot worse, unless, America, you wake up. Now, as far as some of the questions we can ask our congressmen, since they're supposed to be back to work, dead at heat, tomorrow morning, I'm going to ask them a few of these questions. Investigate Miss Pelosi. What's her qualifications for her background as Speaker of the House? I have never seen her voted in for anything. How did she get in there and have so much voice as a communist leader's daughter? Number 2, investigate Mr. Obama's. Does he know all the codes for our missiles and launchings? So maybe if we do get attacked, he'll have his finger on the button so you can't do anything, and you will become the living target. Many in this country are becoming a living target already. Number 3, investigate our jailbirds that are still in prison. Now they're wanting to have workman's comp. But yet you and I, as employers and employees, will not have anything. So we're getting hit right and left. Mr. Obama, how about impeachment? How about that? When there's so many things out there that are not getting taken care of, and then you have your fingers in the pie, also with our world global climate change. Well, maybe they should know about HARP that comes out of Alaska, a secret little place where the world wants to control how cold we are, how hot we are, how much rain and snow we have. Do you realize that is very, very unsafe and very shaky? It could put us into a cataclysm that we won't get out of. And yes, we can have an ice age over it. So for them to play with these kind of tools, they can't blame the Iranians for everything. We're doing some pretty scary stuff ourselves. And then there's also the UK, the US, Canadians, Chinese, and different people that are taking trips back and forth by air travel, and they pay nothing. Absolutely not a dime. Now here's a few waste programs that I think the congressman should look at, because there's a lot of money out there going for things that are dingy, stupid, and beyond that. Golf courses, we don't need so many. Resort sites, parking lots extended, fancy and faster trains, skyscrapers just because the Joneses next door and the next city has one, or a casino. Whale hibernation for the next 2 years, fund that. Lab work for spider monkeys, a study for 2 years. Well, you know, we keep studying everything for all these different programs, and no wonder we're running out of money. And Bernanke is asked to make more and to print it. Well, I don't know what the game of Monopoly will tell you, but you can't keep doing it and survive. You will float on top of the water, and you'll become like Detroit and the rest of them. You will be flat, broke, busted. Now there's also word from our farmers out there who have a lot of snow right now and lots of rain, that even if they get back to work and can have things sowed into the soil, there's many political sharks that are trying to control their water supply and who gets water and who doesn't. You can't grow anything without water. So when it comes to communism and Marxism, look around you, because it's happening. Who are you kidding about the kind of president we have? He's a Lulu. And as far as loose ends go, Mr. Obama, you have a lot of loose ends, and they will catch up with you. So if you are saying to everybody, I'm not a dictator, well then what are you? A movie actor? Because the little Three Stooges could have done a lot better than you have so far. And as far as mobsters go, you fit right in. You must be the other puzzle piece. This is Barbara A. Prokopich. I'm watching over you 24/7. You better watch who are you putting in office, and then watch how he spends it. If it ain't right, do something about it. Impeachment papers are ready and available, even for him. So for him to make himself out in his little chink there he calls a wife, then he better look around him. A lot of Americans in the Army of the Free are ready to take root and start. When? You just name the day. We will be ready. This is Barbara A. Prokopich. I'm signing off, but I'll be back very soon. Thank you, and ask God to bless you, now and always. And I hope you have a great day on Monday, and that our congressmen will get things underway, and will show to the rest of the United States that their body and their butt is out of the soil. They're not playing the ostrich game, but are trying to help us, the taxpayers. We hired them, and as Obama, and as I told him, he can be fired too. And that's the top man as well. I thank you.